So, good evening to all of you. I think because of time, we can begin as others join. So, but before we begin the discussion of today, I understand yesterday you were to have some session which you didn't have. I want us to agree when we can have this class. Next week on Wednesday and Thursday we'll do this class again, but we need that makeup class, the one which we didn't or you didn't have yesterday. I don't know your schedule. You need to confirm to me which day. It will be a weekday. Yes. Do you usually have a class on Tuesday? Maybe one Timothy, maybe you can respond on behalf of others.
No, thank you, Edwin, and you're most welcome.
Yes.
I think we need to discuss maybe much after we finish our class today. Just look at because you see, it is not our problem; it is your problem.
Okay.
And you see, it is like now we are starting from because you're introducing the digital literacy today, so we are starting the class today.
Yes.
So yesterday we may take it as if there was no class, so we are starting the digital class today. But again, members can discuss and agree because I don't see any harm if we start today and then we proceed as per the schedule. Although the program says otherwise. Because now, yesterday we did not, but it was not our fault. We were all in class, so it was your problem.
I think because of time, let's begin the class. We see how we move, but if need be, we'll need a makeup class for that if there will be need. But let's begin. So allow me to share this one. So let me share something here. So I believe you can all be able to see that one. So the aim of our class is to make us more literate in terms of technology and how we use the technology, because we realize so many things today. You need to be digitally literate for you to use or even to apply so many things. So we need to be, I understand we are into other specializations, but there is IT in all those areas. So that's why we need to learn this one. So when we talk about digital literacy, in this case, we are referring to those skills. So the capability of using technology to do one, to find, to evaluate, and even create and even share information. So you realize that nowadays we are so much exposed to so much information. We have those who are even content creators. You see so many people who are using, for example, platforms like TikTok, in that case, to create content. But that's not the only part of technology which we are saying. So we can also use it in terms of sharing information. So the main idea of us running this course, or the main objective, is to make us more literate in terms of the skills which we have, the technology skills. So you might not be a programmer or a web developer in that case, but you will have more skills. Yes, you will have a lot of skills which will help you to use some of these applications which we have nowadays, technology-driven applications, because there are so many. And as we have said, nowadays we apply IT in almost all areas. So you will always experience, if you are not literate in this digital world, then it means you'll have it so a hard time in terms of how you navigate through even the sharing of information. But I understand by you even attending this class, you are at least somewhere in terms of the technology or digital literacy in that case. So one thing you need to realize is, and I've just said it, technology is really moving so fast. So we also need to change. And that's why you realize most industries are even adopting new ways of doing things. They are adopting or they are changing more into technology. So, which means uh, some other work which was manual, nowadays it is now automated. So we need, like, that's why maybe if you get a job and then they realize you are uh, not treated that much, they will send you and tell you go and get this and these skills in that case. So uh, digital literacy will help us in so many ways. One, in how we do communication. So we'll be equipped with some many skills in that case, which will help us have access and even be able to communicate. And this communication, which we are saying, is through different digital channels. It can include emails, social media. So, and even when we talk about social media, we have different applications, which maybe you might not be able to use all of them, but at some point you will find yourself uh, that you are using one of them in terms of how you communicate. So it becomes so handy or so important uh, in how, uh, if we need to communicate in a very fast way, then we need to be literate in that case. The other thing, we have talked about access to information. We have mentioned something to do with information. Now, when you are digitally literate, it will enable you to access a large pool of information. You'll be able to access a lot of information. And this one can be, it can range from even the research work, talk about maybe you have some project which you are working on. You basically you always begin from gathering some information, and this information you always get it from the internet, digital media in that case. So there is a very fast pool of information which exists uh, in the digital world. So it can be, as we have said, it can be research work, self-study, it can be assignments, and so many others. So we need to have the skills how we use this one. And indeed, you cannot escape using uh, these digital platforms in that case. The other thing which digital literacy will enable us is the skills of what we call cybersecurity. Okay, when we talk about cybersecurity, it can be a term which expands, or if you want to explore, it can be even a course on its own because it carries so many things in it. So, uh, but ideally, when we talk about cybersecurity, what we mean is uh, we need to have skills now that we are online. How do we, uh, for example, protect ourselves while we are online? So we need to know how to stay secure while we are in an online platform in that case. So now that we have so much which is in digital form, then security also comes in handy. If you are careless, then it means you lose. Uh, Nowadays, even banks, you have your wallet even on your phone in that case, just a mobile wallet in that case. So it means you have access to your account in the bank just right on your phone. Then security now uh, comes in. How do you protect yourself in an online platform? So, uh, if you are a client of, say, Bank A, they will always try to enlighten you on how, and also they will try to do their part in ensuring that they keep their systems more secure to use. But you see, they cannot protect you 100%. There is the other part which you need to work on from your end. Now, these skills, you will get them and they will be able to help you know how you can protect yourself. Like, for example, those basic ones, like setting strong passwords and even protecting your personal information. And even there is other things which you can explore later. It's a part of even encrypting, but the bigger junk, if you were to do what you call cybersecurity as a course, then you can explore more. But basically, you need to have these basic skills on how you need to stay safe while you are online. The other thing is the other aspect where digital literacy will really help us. When we are digitally literate, uh, nowadays, for example, if I want to buy something, I will always begin from doing a simple search online. And then we have what you call e-commerce websites. So these are like, it can be an online shop, and even those big ones, which are actually transited into fully online, like for example, Amazon, and so many others which are fully online, where you can do shopping online and then it gets delivered to your location. So these skills, you need to have them. Uh, and this is one of our objectives, that at the end of the course, we should be able to perform some of these skills on our own. Also, uh, now that we have like access to information, then now the issue to do with education comes in. Like for example, what we are doing, we are learning online in this case. So there is even video streaming, online news, uh, and even is what you call conferencing, and so many aspects which relates to education and even news. Talk about healthcare. So we have so many applications, and in fact, in healthcare, you realize technology is highly used. So if you work in the industry, in that industry, you will highly interact with applications. So these applications have been developed by um, developers who are more into IT in that case. But now you as a user, you are also expected to know how to use these applications. So a developer can write those codes, but on your side, you also need to understand how to use. We'll use some of these applications and we see how you can perform some functionalities. Talk about finance. Yes. So in matters to do with money, this is where banks come in, and even nowadays you realize even when you work somewhere, they need to pay you. Everything is electronic in that case. So you need to have these skills to work with. But I can guarantee you now, when you are not uh, too much into, when you are not doing IT as a course or any other course which is IT related, in that case, uh, the way you interact with this is by applications. We have these applications which have been developed. Now, your side is to understand how to use them and even uh, how to go through in that case. But we can have what we call challenges, which comes. There is so much which is so good from the technology or the digital side, but also we can have some challenges which comes in. One, there is what we call the digital divide, that gap which exists between those who are literate and those who are not literate. So you realize even the goals of the government today is to make sure like we have a generation which is digitally literate in that case. So, uh, but this is a challenge because there is always that gap, and the gap comes in terms of the access, because you cannot talk about technology and then you do away with the issue to do with how you are connected. So the connectivity here is also an issue, and also it can bring that gap to those who uh, can access or who are more digitally literate, and those who are less literate in that case in terms of uh, this technology which we are talking about. One thing, if you are, for example, in Nairobi here, you might not be having so many issues to do with connection because you have options. For example, if you realize Safaricom is expensive because they are an internet service provider, then you change, you switch to another company, maybe Telecom. You switch maybe to Airtel. And then we have, like, for example, talk about JTL and so many companies which are very affordable when you are in urban area, unlike when you are in rural areas in that case. So in urban area, we are even exposed to fast connections like fiber kind of connection in that case. But talk about those areas where we don't have even mobile connection. So it becomes so difficult in terms of that. So there can be a challenge, and that is one of those challenges which we can have. Another one, we have what we call cybersecurity concerns. We have just said that when we talk about cybersecurity, it is how you can protect yourself online. But now there comes a challenge because somebody somewhere is after your data, wants to access. Like for example, uh, somebody, if it were possible, or if it is easy, in that case, I don't want to use possible because it is possible. Somebody can be able to break through. So if it was so easy, uh, for example, for me to be able to read, for example, your WhatsApp messages, then I can just connect and then I just read as you are doing your own conversations in that case. But we are not saying that it is not possible. It is possible. Somebody can have access to your account. Now, that's where now a challenge comes in. How do you ensure that you protect yourself? Nowadays, you realize we have so many people uh, whom have even reported that somebody hacked to their account, mostly WhatsApp account, and then uh, they go ahead. They can even access and even be able to see the groups in which you are a member. They would have access to all that, and then what they will do, they will send some messages. You see, when I receive that message, I will always take it as if it has come from you. But maybe somebody has taken over your account. So we are talking about that challenge, which can be there. How do you protect yourself? So cybersecurity concerns, it it becomes, uh, a challenge in that case. So you need to know how to protect yourself so that you don't fall a victim in that case. If you fall a victim, then you lose so much because you realize nowadays we we are almost electronic in so many things. You have saved all talk about from even your bank account or even documents. You save them in a cloud somewhere. So if somebody has access to all that, then it means uh, you will have a problem. There's a mistake which we usually make. We create an account, let's say for Facebook, and then we make the password the same uh, with other accounts. I've opened a bank account and then I use the same password which I used for Facebook, the same password which I used for Gmail. Yes, it is good for you because you will not forget it. But when somebody now has access to one, it means they will have access to all your accounts. So you need to be very careful. So as a precautionary measure, you need to keep them different. So you need even to write somewhere. So if you can forget, you need to write them somewhere. And then on the same, uh, we tend to make our passwords, for example, to take the years in which we were born. And so in other words, so I want to make it simple for myself. So I will make maybe my date of birth as a password in that case. Then it means if I'm able to have access to your date of birth, others they use even the phone number, something which is so public, even ID number. So we need to be very careful in terms of even how we set those simple, uh, even simple passwords in that case. Make them unique, unique in a way somebody cannot be able to even break it easily. And don't make it the same uh, on all like platforms which you are using in that case. The other thing is a challenge to access to technology. This one I've talked about it when we are talking about digital divide. So there's always access issue. Like nowadays, if you realize we are having an issue to do with the way we are accessing. So most companies nowadays, actually recently, they have like updated how they even charge in terms of uh, the data in which they sell to you. If you do a comparison between, for example, these mobile subscribers or mobile providers, these Safaricom, Airtel, talk about telecom, you realize they have become expensive. So uh, it means it brings the issue to do with now their access. So now it becomes difficult uh, for those who are not able, like, uh, to afford in that case. So the issue of accessibility and even affordability. So if when you are here in a major city where you have so many options, then it means when you go to rural area, it will be you will have even no option in that case. So it means accessibility becomes an issue. And also we have a problem now that we are exposed to so much information, we can have a problem of what you call information overload and even misinformation. So you realize nowadays when you want to see or to know what's happening, you always run to social media. Either you go to Facebook or you go to X. So If you do a comparison between X and Facebook, you realize one, actually, both of them can be used, but it depends on the application on how they try to minimize, like to make it hard, such that people can know this is a misinformation. It's not the right information. So you realize as you are exposed more into much information, then you may run into what you call misinformation. People want to break news, and in the process, they break what you call fake news in the process. So you need to be very careful. Like there was some news which was going through, and even it reached the ministry about the issue to do with opening dates of schools. That's misinformation. So there was a misinformation that the dates have been changed, and then it took them because also they are exposed to this much information. Uh, Actually, they were forced to write to clarify, and then it comes from their ministry in that case. So you realize we are so much into what you call misinformation. So you need, as much as you are exposed to much of this information, don't consume everything. You need also to filter. You need to check. So the best way, as we are going to learn later, when you get this kind of somebody has shared something with you, don't be in a hurry to also share. If you have not verified, you might be the one who is spreading this, what you call a fake news, and that. Also, we can have a challenge uh, of what you call age-related barriers. So you realize uh, an older generation, it's different with the new generation. So nowadays you find even a child or even 5 years, as as small as 5 years, he or she knows, the child knows how to use, to operate a smartphone. But now we have uh, those who are older generation, talk about even 60 to 70 years and above, they cannot use that gadget uh, in any way. So we can have also an issue to do with uh, age barrier in that case. And also this comes with even how the adoption. So you realize nowadays, if I buy a kabambe and take it to uh, a younger generation, let me use 18 years and below. Let me use, I assume that's a younger generation. Uh, they will not be comfortable to use that kind of phone. In fact, most of the time you'll find they are not interested to use that. But if you have like a smartphone, you will always you will not even use it. They will always want to have it because they are more like uh, exposed to applications. They can download applications, they install, and then they are able to do so much with that kind. But we need to be very careful. Even we need to employ what you call control. So if we don't employ control, uh, then it means it can get out of hand. Where, for example, you have had those news where a child learns something and then implements it. There's a video somewhere. Somebody has illustrated how to commit suicide, and then the child was on and commits or implements that. So we need to be very careful even on how we expose this one to those young generation. So we can have an issue to do with age in that case, age-related barriers. Computers When we talk about digital literacy, we are basically talking about computers in this case. So a computer can be even a gadget. That gadget which you are using can be a phone, an iPad, a tablet. That's a computer in its simplest form. So any electronic device which is able to process information uh, by a means of instruction. And then, so it takes an input, then it processes that one, and then displays something. So, which means display now, it gives you a feedback. That's a computer in that case. So it has that ability to store, retrieve, and even process the data in that case. So, but generally, we can have four main functions of what a computer does. One is input function. So the computer performs the issue to do with allowing you to enter the data. And then we can use different devices which are used in terms of how to accept the data in that case. One can be the keyboard, the mouse, the joystick, the barcode when you go to supermarket, and then they put some code, it reads on the screen. That's an input in that case. Microphone, the way I'm speaking, it is taking my voice and then sending it as a signal so that you can receive it on your side. That's what you call an input. Also, there's a function for storage. Storage here now, we refer to when we accept the input, it can be the data itself. We are going to differentiate data and information. Then we are able to save this data. So we can save data, programs, and even documents in that case. So we have some devices which can help us do this. Uh, we have the compact discs, we have digital uh, versatile discs, we have hard disks, USB flash, and also we have memory cards, what we call secure digital cards. And then nowadays we have new technology which is coming of what we call solid state disk, SSD in that case. So SSD is coming in to replace what we call hard disk. So uh, with the advancement in technology, now it is proven that those machines which are using hard disk, they are slower compared to those ones which are using SSD. So the difference is this. One is directly connected to the motherboard via cable, the hard disk. The other one is integrated direct to the motherboard. So we are removing that part of connecting the cable from the disk to the motherboard. So we're going to see what a motherboard is in a short while. So we are saying that we can have what you call storage. Also, we can have the function of processing. This is a major function. Now, without the processing, then it means it cannot qualify to be completely referred to as a computer because it is now changing the data which you have entered to a form in which we want. Now you process it in a way which we want. Mostly here we use applications. You always interact with applications which performs something. So for example, you write something on maybe Microsoft Office Word, and then you are able to even print. That's the processing now, and even you can be able to save the storage in that case, and you can do so many things out of that. So you interact with applications, but in processing, in just a little bit, the processor, we have what you call the processor. In the market, when you want to buy, for example, a laptop, You don't just buy a laptop without knowing which type of processor it has. We have, like for example, if you find a laptop labeled i3, we have what you call dual core. That dual means it has two, two cores in that case. We have i3, which means it has three cores. Those cores means it's like a processor which is subdivided to handle like processing. Because if I give you a machine which is dual core and another one I give you maybe i7. i7 means it has 7 cores which can work at the same time. So the one which is dual core will be slower when you open some applications, especially those memory intense applications. For example, you are an architect and then you have opened, for example, AutoCAD, or you have opened, for example, Revit. Revit is a program for architecture in that case. So it means it will consume. And then uh, actually, those programs, some of them, they will not run. You will not be able to open them when you have some specific kind of processor. So when you go into the market, you need to know, you specify, I want this and this. Most of the time, if somebody is selling to you this kind of gadgets is genuine, this they will vary in terms of prices. You find the one which is having more cost will be more expensive. The one with less cost uh, will not be much expensive in that case. So it means if, but sometimes those who are even selling, they might not be genuine. So they might sell you, for example, an i3 with the price of an i7. So you see, you are the one who was lost in that because you have bought a lower bargain. He has given you because he has noticed you don't differentiate the processors. So he will give you, for him, he knows the one which has more cost is expensive. So when you go into the market, also you need to know the kind of processor in that case. So you insist, if you want quality, go with the one which has more cost in that case. Again, so this processor can be divided into what you call control unit, arithmetic logic unit, memory unit in that case. So all those, they are units within the processor, which help to process the data which you input. One can be used for calculation, the other one is just general control, and the other one deals with how to allocate memory. So there's so much which happens uh, for you, uh, for example, to type something in Word and be able to process that, or even be able to print, or even save that one. It needs to be processed in a given way. Then we have another function of output. This is now displaying what uh, you have processed into what you call. We can use monitors and use printers. Printers in terms of if I want to print projectors, I can project uh, to a given place, and then I have some panels who are following that. I have plotters, headphones, or speakers in that case. All those are output options or devices which we can have. There's another function of control, but it's much taken by the processing part, the control unit. Then these computers can be classified. So the computer which you have, the one which I have, and even these computers have evolved. in terms of the time. So we can classify them in different classifications. One, we can base on if we classify them in terms of the size and even power, then we can have what you call supercomputers, those powerful computers, super fast in how they process the information. So these ones, they are expensive. You will not be able to have, like for example, a personal one. It can be expensive. Mostly they are used in specific areas, like those complex scientific calculation areas. Talk about weather forecasting, molecular modeling, those scientific areas. Uh, this is where these computers are used so much. Then we have another one which is not so fast or not so powerful, like the supercomputer. We have what you call mainframe. So they are also large, these ones, but they are not as large as the supercomputers. In terms of the size, they are at least uh, smaller in that size, but they are also used like by big organizations. For these organizations which deal with bulk data processing, talk about like sensors. So those computers, not the ones which they use on the field, because they are given small iPads. The iPads are just a link to an application, just one application which is there. But now the one which does the processing of the data which is fed to these computers, it is now what we call a mainframe computer in that case. So those statistical areas, then we use these kind of computers. We name them as mainframe. Also, we have mini computers or mid-range. These are smaller and even less powerful. But now they serve as what we call network servers and even internet servers. So, for example, you have an account with Facebook. At the back, they have what you call a server, and this server now they use what you call mini computers in that case. So they are also fast. They are not slow in that case. We also have what you call microcomputers. Now these are what you where those most of the computers which we use they fall. They are personal computers. They are widely used by individuals and they include what you call laptops, desktops, tablets, and even smartphones in that case. Also, we can classify our computers based on the functionality, uh, where we can have server computers, workstation computers, and even what you call embedded systems in that case. So server computers, they are fast in that case, and then they have what you call a database and even a storage in that case. Also, we have workstations. If you work in an office, the desktop which you are given, that's a workstation. So a workstation is a complete set of that uh, station or that computer in that case. Then we have what you call embedded systems. So these are computers which are built to perform specific function, which is part of a bigger system in that case. And mostly they are found, for example, in cars, televisions, and even home appliances. So you realize nowadays, for example, uh, the TVs which we buy what you call smart TVs. So it comes with the capability of some computing option, which means I can use it as a computer. I can use it to go to YouTube and even I can open some other applications. Also, the cars. Actually, if the computer car fails, then it means you have a problem. The car cannot move. Most of the cars or the vehicles nowadays, they are computer controlled. Even raising of the windows, uh, yes, it cannot even do anything. Opening the doors, it can't open if that computer fails in that case. So the kind of like computer which they use is an embedded one. So it's not complete one, but it's for that specific. That's why you find different car brands. They have different like these embedded systems. So you find a computer, for example, uh, Mercedes is different with the one for Toyota, can be a Hilux or any other in that case. So the brands, they differ in terms of uh, depending on the functionality or the functions uh, which that car performs. Also, we can have them based on purpose. This one here, we can have general purpose and what we call special purpose. Most of the computers which we use, they are general purpose. They can be used, you can use them to play music, you can use them to type uh, a letter, for example, you can use it to do some accounting. For example, you are working with Excel. So that's general purpose. You can use it for browsing, but also we have what you call special purpose, like the one which if uh, those for example IBC, they give their their clerks what we call a special purpose. Yes. So they have some specific function. So you will always find, even if I give you that IBC tablet, you will not use it to even play music. It can only be used for that function for IBC. It comes only with one functionality in that case. So also we can classify them based on the signal capability and even data handling. We can have what you call analog, and also we can have what you call digital in that case. But most of the computers nowadays, we are on digital platform. So we have different components of our computer system. I'm trying to go fast because uh, we need to cover more. So we have different components. Some of them we have talked about. We have mentioned one, like for example, a motherboard. We have mentioned a motherboard. So a motherboard, uh, the phone which you have has a motherboard. The TV which you have has a motherboard. The radio which you have has a motherboard. So it comes uh, with every electronic gadget or a device in that case. So these motherboards, they differ. So if I have, for example, uh, a laptop, then it means if I have some specific model of a laptop, it will have a different motherboard. So basically, it's a circuit board which is inside that computer and it has all the connections. So it can contain the slots. The computer has what you call RAM. So where you put the RAM stick, the graphics card, all those, they are attached to what you call a motherboard. That's where, like, the name the mother in that case. So it hosts like all connections, and then it has even the ports in that case. So that's what you call a motherboard. Also, we have talked about the CPU, where we have said the CPU is specifically used for processing, and we have said you need to be specific. For example, if you are purchasing a computer, you need to be very specific of even the processing speed or capability. Also, we have what we call the GPU, graphical processing unit. This is for now the graphics, the pictures in that case. So you need to go for a better GPU. Although this one now, you need to be so specific. For example, if you want to buy a laptop and this laptop, you are expecting to use it, for example, for games. You see, most of the games, they consume fast, they consume a lot of memory. Two, those games they need a better or a highly accelerated GPU in that case, which means because it is a gaming, uh, you are even using this one to play some games. So you want to see maybe the person the way in a real way. Then you need to go for a better GPU option. So this one also can vary. If you are not going to use uh, your machine for those uh, picture intense like functionalities, then you can go for the other option. And this one now, it means if I go to the market, I want to purchase, and I'm so specific, then we have different companies, which comes, like for example, if you buy a laptop, you find it's Intel, for example. The other one you see it's written AMD. Another one you see it has NVIDIA. So those are different kinds of processors, but they have different capabilities in terms of the GPUs, even they support. As an advice, if you want to buy a machine which you want to use for those uh, memory consuming, like, and yes, memory consuming applications, then, like for example, architectural kind of applications, those intense ones, because you need to do what you call rendering in a read. Because if, for example, I create a plan for a house, I want to render this one so that uh, I can send to the client in terms of a video. This video, I want it to be like in real. Then it means you need to have a better working or a best performing GPU in that case. So it depends on how you want to use the computer. So with the functionality, you know what to go for in the market. Also, there's what we call the random access memory. This is the memory now, which we are talking about. So this one also uh, is something which you need to know. If I have a desktop or even a laptop, there is a chip inside or a slot where I will put what you call RAM. Usually it's a small stick, and it comes to the issue to do with the gadget. It depends. If you are using a desktop, it will be big. If you are using a laptop, it will be small. Yes, it varies. Even on mobile phones, it becomes a very small component in that case. So this is the one which determines how fast, although it is not the only factor. So even if you upgrade your RAM to even, for example, to even 10 GBs, and then your processor is i3, then it means it can't. And even nowadays, it will not accept for you to expand it to a very high speed uh, with that kind of process. So it comes new generation type of or better performing processors, you can expand to a very high like RAM in that case. So which means you can have a machine which is super fast, very fast. Also, we have what you call storage devices. This one we have just talked about them. We can have what you call a hard disk, and even the newer technology nowadays, which is solid state kind of uh, technology. So where the Nini is interlinked with the motherboard or integrated with the motherboard. Believe we are okay up to that point. Okay, so we continue. Okay, we'll take a break when it reaches around 7:40 there. We'll take like 2 minutes a break of break and then we'll continue. But for now, let's continue. We have what you call computer hardware and also we have what you call computer software. Now, the difference is so small. One is what you can touch. The other one, you cannot touch. So when we talk about computer hardware, it refers to those parts of a computer which you can physically touch. And then when you talk about the software now, it refers to, we have used the word applications. So when I use application, I use a program. So those are interchanging words in that case. But what they refer to is just instructions. So these instructions, they depend on the particular type of application which you are using. So if I'm creating an application, for example, uh, to take student data and then it does the processing so that I can query and then it gives me, for example, how much I've paid, how much is remaining as a balance. So that's an application. So an application or a software, I want you to think of codes. So these are just something, an application is just a code which is doing something. So, and we are going to see, we can have different types of what we call software. So the software can be what we call application software, and also we can have what we call system software. The difference is this. When you talk about application software, these are applications or this is a type of software which solves the problem of the user. Like for example, you belong to a jama, let's say, and this jama you always meet maybe on a given date, and then depending on how you are doing it, you collect some money, and then this money maybe you keep this money, and then after a given period, uh, you you want to see how much you have saved in that case. Then it means the problem which you have, keeping this one uh, in a manual way, it can be tricky because you can have so many. Because when a member comes, you need to take the ID number, you need to take so many details in that case. Now, writing them down, then referring to them, it can be so hectic. Now you have realized you are a good or you are a developer in that case. Let me use that term. Now you can help them. Their problem is they want to have a system which can help make their work easier. Then now what you do is you will create an application. The kind of software you are creating is an application. Sometimes you can create it in a way they can access it over the phone. They install it over the phone. And then, like for example, the way you see the banks, they have their own applications where you download it and then you have access to your data in the bank. So also this one, when we create those kind of applications, we refer to them as application software because they are solving user problem. Then we have what we call system software. Now, a system software, you might not actually open it. Like for example, an application, I can open an application to play music, and then I play my music or I listen to music in that case. Even on your phone, you have an application to play music. So whenever you want to play some music, you play it. And then you realize even those applications are different. We have others which can support different types of files or more files. We have others which don't support. So what we are saying is a system software might not, you might not open it for you to use it in that case, like an application software. But it will help you, it works at the background to help protect, either protect your system or do something, in something which it does in that case. So like for example, if you have an antivirus software, you not open to use it, but it will be working at the background to protect you whenever either there is somebody who wants to hack to your system, it will always protect you in that case. So the difference is that one, it helps the end user. The other one, it helps the system to perform some functionalities in that case. So the machine, when you open it, even if you have not opened any application, there are those applications or yes, those softwares which will always work at the background. We refer to them as system softwares. Now, we have what we call a mouse and a keyboard. And as we have said, a mouse is an input device and also a keyboard is an input device. So this mouse, uh, this can be better illustrated by an example, but uh, the mouse has like let me use three buttons because it has what you call the right button, the left button, and also we have the center one for a wheel. A wheel is used to scroll. So if you are in a given document, I can use that wheel to scroll down or up. Then we have what you call uh, the right button and the left button. So when I talk about the right button, I just use the simple way, the way you put your fingers. So the one which is to your right is the right button. The one which is to your left is the left button in that case. So one is used to just uh, when you want to open, you just click. Actually, we use the term just click. If I tell you click, then it means you are using the right click. In that case, actually the left click in that case. And then the right click, you are displaying like more options. So it will give you more options to select from. So when you want to click on an item, you use left button. And when you want to display some menu, you use the right button in that case. So also we have what you call the keyboard. If you are using a desktop or a laptop, you can also see how your keys are arranged. But if you are on a mobile phone, it might be different. You need to be on something. You appear like you are typing. That's when it can display the keyboard. But the keyboard for the phone is not the same as for the laptop in that case. So if you have a laptop or a desktop, it will be easier to illustrate this one. So we have different keys on the keyboard, uh, which perform different functionalities. So they perform different uh, functionalities. If you see on the keyboard, you have F1 to F12. Those are functional keys. Depending on how you use them, uh, they can be used in an advanced way, but we want to just illustrate and know them. Those are functional keys. And also we have numerical keys. For the keyboard, it combines some letters at the top. It writes, so sorry for the laptop, but for desktop, it separates. But also even if it separates, you'll always see some letter at the top and the other one at the center. one, two, three, up to zero. It doesn't begin from zero to one. It begins from one to zero. We call that arrangement as quarks. So it's a system. So, and also there's a difference. If you have most machines which are shipped into different continents, in Africa, you will have this format. And also if those which are, for example, if you go and buy a machine from, for example, Asia, in that case, you'll find the arrangement of the keyboard is different. Or those French-speaking countries, you'll always find the keyboard is different. But this standard one, uh, you will also have uh, alphanumerical. We have numerical 1 to 0, and then we have alphanumerical A to Z, but it's not arranged in A, B, C format. They are always interchanged in a given format. And also we have what you call uh, navigation keys, where you can go up or down. Uh, we have special keys. We have like a backspace. We have home. We have delete. So that's a keyboard in that case. So it becomes in handy when, if for example, you are working in an office, uh, yes, you always need to understand how to type. When you are typing, how you are supposed to type. If we were having a class for typing, then you are supposed to make sure when you type, your right hand does not move and press a key where your left hand is. So you should be sitting at the center of that keyboard. You put your hands half half, and then when you type, don't move towards the other side in that case. So those keys, they perform different functionalities. So I will share with you these notes later so that you can go through and even understand uh, the functions for those keys in a more detailed way. But for now, we just move because we have a lot to cover. Uh, but you need, as one way of even understanding how to use, you need to understand the keyboard. So when you understand it, it becomes so easy in terms of how even you do typing. Uh, yes, how fast you can type. So we have people who are so good in this, but it needs practice for you to be able to do this. Now, assume you have bought a new computer. You need to do what you call customization. Although by default, when you install what you call an operating system, so uh, okay, if I can use this term, an operating system, uh, you cannot use a computer without an operating system. You can have the hardware, but this operating system is a software. So it is the one which allows you even to install other applications. So without it, then it means you can't use. So an operating system, we can have, for example, Windows. Those Windows tends to be, okay, it is different from those who are using Mac. Mac is also an operating system. We also have those who use Linux. Linux is also an operating system. And also we have others in that case. So it means uh, you might not be good in all those operating systems, but you'll always be good in one because, like for example, Windows is highly used. So you'll always find yourself, you have applications which runs on Windows. But if you talk about, for example, Mac, then it means you need to have a Mac laptop or a Mac, uh, which, because that's now a different, like architecture in that case. So you need to know it, and then it separates you from those who are using, for example, Windows. Like, but if, for example, uh, assume you are an IT person, you need to understand how to use all of them, because at some point uh, you will find yourself like you are in an environment where you are using the Mac in that case. So you need to be aware how to use them. But I was saying this, when you buy a laptop, be it a Mac or be it uh, an operating or a Windows operating system kind of supported laptop or machine, then you need to do what you call customization. Customize is to how you set up your desktop. So nowadays, uh, most of uh, the operating systems which we are having, they have been simplified. Like for example, Windows. We have the latest Windows 11. It makes it so easy in terms of how you use. Uh, it doesn't make it so hard. But if you are so much used with Windows, if I give you a Mac, then it will be somehow, it will take time for you to adjust, because even the shortcuts, the keys, the way you do it, it will be a little bit different. But I'm saying you need to do what you call customization. You set a theme, you set icons, you change the color, you change the font. Maybe, for example, you want a bigger font, you can do that customization. Windows, you do this one, all this, you can do it from settings. So you only need to search settings, and then you search what you want. So when you open the settings, then you type, uh, for example, font. It will give you an option for font, and then you are able to change. Be it you want to set an account, an access account, you want to have another account, uh, which, for example, you want to limit the functionalities. Then you can create an account from settings, you type accounts, and then you are able to go to those accounts, or you go to control panel. That one, I'm just saying it because it's a bit easy under Windows. You only search. There's a under scroll down, there's somewhere where your laptop tells you type here to search. So if you search, it will always redirect you uh, to those options. If you want settings, you just type settings. If you want, for example, those accounts, I can even type accounts, and then it will take me uh, to the options which I want. Then if you want to check the date, the time, you'll always be able to do so. It's also what we call the files. Uh, I just mentioned something to do with when when I was explaining issue to do with applications. I mentioned at some point that you can have, for example, an application to play music, and then it doesn't play all types like of files for music in that case. So even in that music, we can have different formats. So here there is what we call files. And these files and even file management, it's an operating system which handles this. So that's why we talked about cybersecurity at some point. If a hacker uh, penetrates or finds a way to your machine, they can install some software, what we call a ransomware. This ransomware, usually when it installs on at the back, it installs at the background, and then when it is complete, it takes control of your machine, which means you cannot be able to do anything. So what it has done, it has misconfigured your operating system to not recognize. For example, you typed maybe some document, but you cannot open it anymore. So it has misconfigured how the operating system understands in this case, especially that type of attack. If it finds you, uh, unless you are tech, uh, you are high skilled in terms of technology, you might not be able to recover from that kind of an attack. So a precaution is made. Always back up your data. So whenever you have your data, nowadays we have so many options, online options, cloud backup options. So whenever you have a document, don't just assume it's on your phone, maybe on your laptop, and then you feel like it is safe. Just back it up at some point somewhere over the cloud somewhere. For companies, usually they pay and then they get their data backed up somewhere, or they can have their own data centers, which means they can have they can have a whole setup of backup on a given location which they choose. And then, although that's expensive, that's why it happens for companies. But for individuals, use the online options to back up your data. It can be Google Drive. We're going to talk about Google Drive later, or it can be other platforms which provides that. We have what we call computer internet. So when we talk about the internet, uh, I want you to think of several routers which are interconnected. These routers, they connect to what we call computers. So if you were to have a picture of how really we are connected, uh, we have computers, which we can refer to as workstations. We have switches where we connect to from our computers. And then we have routers, we connect from switches. So we move from switches to routers. And then these routers now, they are spread. There are so many. Can be in buildings, so many. For example, uh, if you want to have an internet connection on your office, maybe it's here in town, they will give you a router. So the router depends on which company in that case. So unless you purchase what you call a dedicated link, which means a cable which comes direct to your office, then it means uh, if you have a dedicated link, then you can have an option of having different plans of routers in that case. But if you are purchasing the connection from either Safaricom, you always they will always give you a Safaricom router or that company which is supplying you that, and then you'll be able to use that. So the the internet now, it's just the interconnection of computers in that case. So with several protocols which are being employed, that's what we refer to as the internet. So, and also there's another term which we refer to as the network. So the network now comes from uh, actually uh, when we have different types of networks. We can have local area network. We can have what you call wide area network. But uh, a network which exists within a given office or a given building is what you call a local area network. Now, when you interconnect these networks, you form what you call the internet in that case. So that's why you hear the word the internet is big. So when now it becomes the issue to do with the internet, then you are now connected to you. I can even search Facebook from my machine, and then it will give me a link on how I can reach that Facebook server in that case. So that's what we call the internet. But now the network is within a given uh, specific geographical location. If it is big, then we change the name. Small, we change the name in that case. So we have different types of networks which can exist. So also we can have um, what we call external device management. So I talked about the motherboard, and I said it has what you call the ports, which we use to connect. So these ports can be, for example, I want to connect a USB, I want to have what you call device drivers. These are specific drivers which control some specific hardware. Like for example, if I put, uh, I connect my phone, any type of phone, to the computer. With these newer versions of operating system, it has what you call a device driver, which will identify that particular phone. So immediately you put like this, you connect with a USB cable of whichever type. In that case, it will be able to detect and tell you, you will just see a pop-up in that case. That's courtesy of what we call device drivers. So when we talk about external management or device management, is that process of controlling and even overseeing the use of what we call external devices, which are connected to the computer. And this can include even managing devices and even access permissions, uh, which leads to preventing uh, data loss. And also it can lead to what you call stopping what you call unauthorized uh, devices. So anything which is external, not inside the computer in that case, something which you attach is what we call external device. So we can have some benefits of now having that control. We can ensure security, the data security, and even the security of the devices which we are connecting in that case. So assume it's a flash disk. So if I connect a flash disk and I don't have a way of controlling the ports, then it means the machine can be infected by a virus. So I need to be, maybe I can have an application, and this application can really help me in protecting. So immediately I put a USB, it scans that USB, and then it checks uh, if there's a virus. If there's a virus here means that kind of program which when it infects your machine, it changes the behavior of your machine. That's a virus. So uh, we need to control that. You can have an application which really checks those ports and then it can control them. So I want us to have uh, a 2 minute break at exactly 8 p.m. We resume, yes, we resume the discussion at exactly 8 p.m. So let's take a break. We resume in 2 minutes time. Okay, if I see maybe once 10 minutes, it's okay. So at exactly 8:10, let's resume. Okay. continue now, we want to look at what we call word processing. When we talk about word processing, basically what we need to have here is to have some tips on how to use Microsoft Office Word. Maybe I can remind you, we are doing it in a practical way here. You might be even maybe be knowing at least how to use this one because it is so basic, but maybe some other components you might not be aware how to use them. But I want us to illustrate something here. So the approach here is you need to have these skills, because when we talk about word processing, this is a program which we highly use when we want to create, edit, and even save, and even print documents. So whenever, for example, it's a letter which I have, I would always begin from Office Word. I create it. I'm using this one because it is highly used, and even in your syllabus, this is what your course, like you are supposed to know in this one. So you need to know how to create a document, how to edit, and even save, and even print. So for the printing part, we might not be able to print because you need to be connected to a printer, and then printing is so easy. When you connect a printer, you do the settings, the printing now is just a button, and then you are able to print. So assume, so here, this is Word or Microsoft Office Word. It has, I believe you can be able to see, it has different what we call tabs. We have home, we have insert, design, page layout, differences, mailings, review, view, and then what you see here, that's known as Acrobat. That's an add-on. So this is an add-on for issue to do with PDF, but if so, it means it's a software which I've installed, and then because I've set it as a default, that's why it was added here for reading PDF. But still you can work without it in that case. So majorly you will always find it is up to this view here. Now assume I have I write this one. So I assume I write this one. Yes, there's something which I'm displaying. You're not able to see. I'm sharing. Maybe let me stop sharing, and then I see. I don't know if trying to confirm if you are able to see that. Oh, that's okay. So I was saying this one here, we have these different tabs. We have home, insert, design, page layout, differences, mailings, review, and view, those tabs. So when you create a document, creating means you type something. So for example, let me write this one. For example, just something I'm just typing. This is technical. For example, university, is state. University. Like this. So assume this is a statement which I've just written here. Then I can perform so many things. When I'm on Home tab, you see here, these are the functionalities which I can have. There can be so many. You have fonts, paragraph, styles, and even the other side you have editing, and also you have issue to do with acrobats and all that. So here, if the first thing, if I want to change, for example, the font size, it is so simple. You need to highlight what you are working on, and then you have an option here of changing the font size. You can use a drop down, or you can just type here. For example, sometimes you might be having a font size which doesn't appear here, like for example 25. So I can just type 25, and then I'm able to get that size. Or I can just increase from here or decrease the way I want it to be, like that. I can also change the font, how it writes, the writing style. So I can have, so if I want, for example, that you only select, and then it writes like that. So you have an option. So sometimes if you know the font name, you just type it here. So for example, if for example I know impact, I will just click, and then I just type it there. So, but you can have so many fonts here, so many fonts, which you can choose from. Again, we can have what you call, you can make it bold by clicking V, I for italic, underline. You can click that line, and then you have different options of underlining. So you can say double underline, and then at the same time, I can say I want to change the color of underlining. I still select the same, and then I can just select the color which I want. So that's how you basically do it. If I don't want that change, I can just click underline, and then I remove it in that case. Again, still highlighted, I can have text styles. This is different writing styles. So here, you can either choose, like for example, here I've chosen these predefined ones. So if I select this one, it will take it like that. If I take this one and I click, it will write it like that. But sometimes you don't want that. Sometimes you want to set it on your own. You say you want an outline color. Maybe for example, let me select this color here. I want to have a different color. No, let me have a, maybe that's an outline, a good outline to that text. I can put a shadow. You select, then you go here, then you have an even increase so that you see how the shadow is performing in that case. So I can even, yes, like this. I can even copy this one. I copy, Ctrl C, and then paste, Ctrl V on the keyboard. I have a copy of this one. So on the second one, I say I don't want that change. So I'll go to the shadow. I say no shadow, and then I can even decide like that, and then I can put, maybe I want a reflection on this one. So I select, I say I want a reflection, and then I can increase, for example. So that's a reflection. So in short, when you want to change those styles, the text styles or text effects, you just click here. You always have the option, including the glowing effect. You can just select, then you have a glow effect to your text. So sometimes you are working on something, and then you want to put those effects, then you access them from here. Again, let me paste another one down here, and then this one now I want to move. I can click here on the formatting at the top here, and then it will clear those formatting, everything. Then I would again increase the size, or I can leave it, that's it. So if I want, let me move this one down for the purpose of what I want to be. I can say I want, for example, a different color. So you can select a color there. Also, if you want to change to capital letters at once, you can change here under change case. So you have written some document you want to change at once, you can use that. Lowercase to small letters and all. At the same time, the center is alignment. That is, so you can say you want it there, or you want on the other side like that. Then if I come and add these two, remember these are two lines. Let me do it like that. So if I come and I write these two, I can put what you call a bullet, selecting a bullet like this. And at the same time, this bullet you can have, so not necessarily, if it's here is not what you want, you can always define something here. You can click here, you say define, and then you can take either you want or you want a picture. So it will open for me the symbols. So here I can come and say I want, for example, a symbol like this. So I will add it, and then here it will be added. So when I come here, it will add that one here. It's already here. At the same time, if you want to use a picture, you say define, and then you say picture. So I don't have a picture currently, so I beg this one, I will disable this one, or let me work offline. You see, it's taking long because it was trying to connect. But the issue is, if you click that offline, it will open some